My next guest discovered a pain point for many women. She found herself having nonstop conversations with girlfriends about how hard it can be to form those adult friendships. You might feel that same way too. So she started an online community dedicated to helping women find and strengthen those women-to-women connections. Owner of the online community, The Friendship Experiment, Elise Caffee, is joining me in Studio 5. Great to have you. Thanks. So I thought this was an interesting note. You have a master's in rhetoric from BYU, so your background is in research, and you put that skill to use toward the idea of researching friendships, and the Friendship Experiment was born. Why are you calling it an experiment?
Well, nobody's perfect at friendship. Everybody's kind of trying different things out, and kind of like scientific experiments, we're all kind of on this discovery process to figure out our friendships. So we're learning and growing, we're trying new things, we're making mistakes, so it's not perfect, and it just turns out kind of like an experiment. We don't always know how it's going to turn out.
So not just your experiment, it's our experiment.
It's everybody's
it's
experiment.
Yes. Really, how we connect and what allows that connection to form.
Yeah.
You did post this once, Elise, and I loved it. You said, be the friend who shows up. Be the friend who shows up. Why is that so important, have you found?
I found that friendship requires action. And a lot of us, the way that we can show that action, or we can take that action, is by showing up. So that doesn't necessarily mean like showing up everywhere that your friends are and being part of everything they're doing. But there's so many ways that we can try to understand what matters to our friends and try to be there to support them, whether or not they are, you know, have an online community, or whether or not they are doing something at church that you want to support, or just by sending a text, or you know, bringing baked goods or something when they're having a hard day. So there's so many different ways you can show up. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to physically be there.
Yeah.
But it's so important to show your friends that they matter by being there and kind of knowing and checking in with them.
Yeah, you talk about that action. Action takes effort. It's often the extra step, right? That we sometimes don't feel like we have the time for or the energy for, but it's that effort, it's that extra that allows the real friendship, I think, to solidify and be formed. You threw out to your community sort of a friendship challenge. In fact, there were 5 challenges that you issued to your female community, primarily female community, to take on and try, and you're going to share those challenges with us here today as well. Challenge number 1, you want us to send a thoughtful text to 3 friends.
Okay, so this one's simple. You can do it from home, wherever you are.
It's comfortable too.
It's comfortable.
It's easy.
That's why we want to start with something easy. But it makes us stop and think about our friends, and it makes us stop and think about what they might need. So I like to do this regularly, send a text to a few friends and remind them that I'm thinking about them, but also add something to that where tell them about how they matter to me. Something that, like, besides just saying, how are you doing today, something deeper. So not just that basic text, take it a little bit deeper.
I have a friend who is just wonderful at this. Her name's Michelle, and I was sitting just a couple Sundays ago watching General Conference, and the text came just to the tune of what you described. It was thoughtful, it was deeper, it said something more meaningful than just thinking about you.
Right.
And it does mean so much. And while she and I don't get to see each other as much as I would like, it reinforces a connection that is there, and I think strengthens it too.
Right, it's all about that connection, and doing that first step, it just reminds us, like, we should be connecting with our friends regularly, and it's not hard.
All right, you called that the easy first step, the gateway. We're gonna get a little more effort-filled, but still not too hard. You want us to initiate some one-on-one time with a friend, and I imagine the operative word here is initiate.
Yes, so there's 2 parts, but initiate is so hard for so many people. Some people it's so easy for, and that's great. But if it's not hard for you, you need to be out there initiating contact with friends, and taking that next step to make it one-on-one makes it much more powerful, because a lot of us do things in groups, but we walk away sometimes from those group experiences not feeling fulfilled.
It's kind of a faulty connection, isn't it, when you're in a large room full of people?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's taking that next step to go a little bit more intimate, be a little more vulnerable. We walk away feeling fulfilled.
All right, here we go. Introduce yourself to 2 people you don't know.
Okay, so this requires us to flex our friendship muscles a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right? It's not always easy to kind of get outside our comfort zone. I like to do this in my high fitness class when I look around the room and I see somebody new, or somebody that kind of looks like they don't have someone to talk to, and I just practice in that experience. And I don't know, it just reminds us that not everyone has the same friends as us. It makes us look outside ourselves.
Yeah, makes you aware too of people's needs and their vulnerabilities, and we all want to be that person.
Yes.
All right, make a list of 10 reasons you're a good friend.
Okay, so I like this one as a start because we're all doing something right. Like, no, we don't all have to change everything about what we're doing with friendship, but it's good to remind ourselves that we are being successful in certain areas and just give ourselves that little confidence boost that we are a good friend.
Sure.
And then we take that next step with making a list of what things we need to work on.
The improvement
The
piece.
improvements, because we all need to improve different areas of friendship. And I like doing this for myself just as a self-reflection, because it helps me kind of focus on the areas where I'm not successful. So for me, for example, I tend to go all or nothing when it comes to friends. I'm like such a good friend when they're having a hard time, and then it's like I kind of petter off and get into my own life.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I was like, oh, I need to be a little more balanced in my friendship approach once I kind of made this list, trying to figure out where I maybe fell short. And there's so many ways we can improve and be a better friend.
I love these challenges. I love this community that you've built around this all-important topic, and it's so interesting because typically when we address this topic, we approach it one of two ways. We say, research says being a friend is important, or we talk about the awkward moments like at the high fit class or at the park where we don't have someone to connect with in the loneliness. In the middle is this really important calling to be a friend and to show up for people. So I love that you're helping us do that in small and simple ways. Where can we hear more from you and join your community?
So I have an Instagram account called The Friendship Experiment.
Okay.
And you can just follow along there, and we share I'll continue to share more challenges and just tips on ways to kind of expand your friendship circles.
Thanks for pushing us in just the right way. We'll share these challenges on our website and social media as well, so you can take them on yourselves, and of course link you over to The Friendship Experiment.